So we're looking at Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's a combined knowledge about how to become successful from some of the greatest minds of the 20th century. Alan Nagao says, he interviewed 500 people over 30 years. And I have been playing Earl Nightingale's recording on Think and Grow Rich, where he introduces this book by Napoleon Hill. Now, as I prepared this, I took note of two important points that he made. First of all, have a handbook, have a notebook handy. So I make notes as I go along. And I listen to this message for my own personal learning and application, my own success, not just to share with other people. And it's especially important for me because I'm doing this series to share with you, but I want to get the most benefit myself. There's no accident that I'm doing this. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing something that's important to me. Just like when I share with you about reset, it's because it's really, really important to me. So I urge you to take notes as you listen to this now. And then later when you go through the replay, I find I have to replay this many times, then ask yourself, how can you apply this to your life right now? Okay, right now, it's no accident that you are listening to this right now. Napoleon Hill, in his book, wrote 13 proven steps to riches, where riches are whatever you want, happen to want. So today, let's listen to what Earl Nightingale has to say on the third principle, auto-suggestion. Let me share my screen.
The third principle is auto-suggestion. Now, we've already touched on this. This chapter of the book tells us how, through repeated suggestion, the subconscious mind can be put to work for us. It is the faculty of being able to concentrate your mind on your burning desire until your subconscious mind accepts it as fact and begins to devise ways of bringing it about. Here is where hunches come from, sudden flashes of thought or inspiration, guidance. The instructions given in connection with the 6 steps in the second chapter will now be summarized and blended with the principles covered by Napoleon Hill's chapter on autosuggestion. First, go into some quiet spot, perhaps in bed at night, close your eyes and repeat aloud, so you may hear your own words, the written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate, or a careful reaffirmation of whatever your goal happens to be, the time limit for its accumulation, and a description of the service or merchandise you intend to give in return for the money. As you carry out these instructions, see yourself already in possession of your goal. For example, suppose that you intend to accumulate $50,000 by the 1st of January, 5 years from now, that you intend to give personal services in return for the money in the capacity of a salesman. Your written statement of your purpose should be similar to the following. By the 1st day of January, 19, whatever it happens to be, I will have in my possession $50,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality of service in the capacity of salesman of, and here describe the product or service you intend to sell or whatever it is you do for a living. It goes on. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me at the time and in the proportion that I deliver the service I intend to render in return for it. I am awaiting a plan by which to accumulate this money, and I will follow that plan when it is received. Second, repeat this program night and morning until you can see in your imagination the money you intend to accumulate. Third, place a written copy of your statement where you can see it night and morning and read it just before retiring and upon arising until it's been memorized. As you carry out these instructions, you are applying the principle of autosuggestion.
Okay, so this third principle is very short, but it's really at the heart of everything that this book is about. Okay, which is the power of autosuggestion to command your subconscious mind over and over and over and over and over and over again. So it's a constant repetition of action by your subconscious mind. Some of you have heard me, lose a bit of my cool when you go on automatic. I say, why are you going automatic? Okay. That's when you give a general response without thinking what is the best solution for you and for the other party. You don't use your brain or your heart. Just go automatic. Well, let me share with you an article from Psychology Today. It's by a chap called Gustavo Rossetti, written in November 2018, entitled How to Stop Living Life on Autopilot. It's time to turn it off. Okay. How to stop living life on autopilot. It's time to turn it off. Let me read an extract from this article. When we live on autopilot, it feels like someone else is driving, not us. Our brains have developed an unconscious decision-making system so we can take care of routine tasks. It prevents us from overloading. However, modern life has hijacked our lives. The mechanism that is supposed to protect us is disengaging us from living. 96% of people in the UK admit to making most decisions on autopilot, according to this research. It has become an epidemic. Our minds are wandering around most of the time. According to the study, we are living on autopilot in the place where we need to pay the most attention, our home. People make decisions such as what to eat, what to watch on TV, or what to wear without putting in any thinking. Professor Renata Salel, one of the study contributors, says it better. We're forgetting that when we are at home, the important things are to interact with family and friends without being constantly distracted. Most people can't remember what they watched on TV. Additional research shows that binge walking diminishes memory and perceived comprehension. So that's the danger of going on autopilot or going on automatic. So what is the difference with autosuggestion? Well, in natural life, there's some examples. Okay, for example, breathing. Okay, breathing is usually automatic, except when I'm doing stand-up paddling. I got to remember to breathe. I'm not breathing. I'm holding my breath, concentrating on paddling. Okay, but breathing is usually automatic. It's controlled subconsciously by the respiratory center at the base of my brain. Okay. Driving. Okay. Driving is good when it's autopilot because you're listening to music, you're listening to messages, you're talking, you're interacting to people, but how you change gear, well, we don't have gears now, but how you brake, how you steer is actually automatic after passing your license and practicing a lot. Okay, so how effective is autosuggestion? Well, autosuggestion and hypnosis are actually two clinical methods that use this phenomenon of for pain therapy. Let me read this article about somatic cough syndrome and the tick cough, okay, by a doctor. And in that article, there were two findings. One, hypnosis was effective in resolving cough in 78% of the patients and improving it in another 5%. Okay, so it could resolve cough in 78% of the patients. Second finding they had was that suggestion therapy, okay, resolved cough in 96% of patients. Okay, so suggestion therapy. Okay. So autosuggestion is an advanced stage, okay, where you are doing it yourself without someone, an external party, hypnotizing you. Autosuggestion. Okay. In the success mantra, okay, our success mantra says that success equals to intention plus action plus grace. So the conscious controls the intention and the action. Okay. Grace is what I don't control, because if I were controlling it, I would limit the results. This is where God takes over. I want to share with you a verse in the Bible that speaks very much of this. I've memorized this 50 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. It comes from the book of Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 20. It says, now to him who by the power at work within us is able to do far more abundantly than all that we ask or think. Now to him who by the power at work within us, okay, subconscious, is able to do far more abundantly than all that we ask or think. So how does auto-suggestion kick in? I think before auto-suggestion can kick in, we need to start with what I call deliberate suggestion. And I came up with this acronym RICE, okay, R-I-C-E. So we need to practice RICE. R is repetition, okay, the importance of repeating and reminding ourselves until it's automatic. Okay? So we go through these drills until it's automatic. For example, you don't need an alarm clock. I don't need an alarm clock to wake myself up at 5:45. That's very, very early. You know, I've been waking up at 5:45. So nowadays, if the alarm doesn't ring, I'm waking up at that time. Okay. I also, you know, the first thing I do is I pangsai. My body automatically knows that I need to go to the toilet first. Okay. It's when repetition activates the subconscious. Okay. So that's R. I is to instruct the subconscious. Okay. Napoleon Hill said, the subconscious mind accepts it as fact and begins to devise ways of bringing it about. So when I make it a point to instruct the subconscious, okay, the subconscious mind will accept it as a fact and devise ways of bringing it about. The C is compelling desire, or what Napoleon Hill calls burning desire. It's what you want. Okay, compelling desire is what you want. I was just recalling Hock Seng, you know, when we were in the army, we have a mission statement, isn't it? When we do our planning, okay. And I was, you know, the mission is basically who, what, and when. And I looked at some of my my op statements, and I remember this one. Okay, for example, 63 BIR is to capture Lisa 2 by 23:0900 hours as part of 6 divisions' efforts in recapturing Blue Land. Okay, so who, 63 BIR, what is to capture this location, by when, and what is the purpose, why, okay, the why is part of 6 divisions' efforts in recapturing Blue Land. So the mission has to be very, very clear. Okay. And the E, okay, so we got R, repetition, I, instruct, subconscious, C, compelling desire, E is elimination. So when you've got a compelling desire, when you've got a focus, you need to eliminate other things so that you can concentrate and focus on one objective. Yesterday, I was listening to Alan Nagao share at Sandy's Unstoppable Boot Camp about balance. You know, he said, yeah, strive for balance maybe over 10 years, but right now, focus now. If you want to be team elite, focus now, and you can have balance later. Okay, so E is a bit of elimination. E is also a reminder to use emotions. Okay, we saw earlier that one of the keys is to use the power of emotions to direct your subconscious mind, positive emotions. Okay, so RICE is something I coined up so that we can practice this deliberate suggestion so that our auto-suggestion kicks in.